Dr. Peter Breggin, nationally talking all over the country about this issue of medication madness, which is his latest book. The first one you may recognize, the title, Talking Back to Prozac. Do you not believe, Dr. Breggin, that people have depression that needs to be treated with medication? Do people not have chemical imbalances?
Well, first, people do get depressed. I mean, depression's a part of normal life in many ways. When we have losses, we grieve. When things don't develop in our lives the way we want, we get sad, we have losses. So it's really a human continuum. And some people get terribly depressed. But that doesn't mean it's biological. The idea that individuals have biochemical imbalances in their brain is a PR campaign by drug companies. We can't even measure the activities in the human brain. We'd have no way of proving a biochemical imbalance. But we do know from animal research that the drugs cause biochemical imbalances. So it's literally true that the only known biochemical imbalances in the brains of people who are depressed or anxious are the ones caused by the drugs. On the other hand, something like depression is usually really understandable, more than many other psychiatric, psychological problems. Depression is a feeling of hopelessness.
So you don't think that people who come from families where there is a history of depression and anxiety tend to inherit these qualities?
Well, it's a scientific issue, and in fact, every study has failed to show any genetic connections for any of the psychiatric disorders. I go into that in great detail in my books, including Medication Madness, that that's just propaganda. We don't have that kind of data. Now, if your mother's depressed and you're 2 years old or 3 years old, you may show some signs of feeling depressed, even as an infant. So we get feelings from our parents. I have a wonderful daughter who's raising a happy young boy along with her wonderful husband, and you can just see that happiness coming from Mom and coming from Dad. And if Mom and Dad was stressed out and feeling uncomfortable and unhappy, believe me, you'd see it even in the infant.
So even if you take a small amount, you don't think anybody ever really benefits from taking even a small amount of these medications?
I think it's a mistake to try to treat a fundamentally psychological, spiritual problem of feeling hopeless about life by doing something to your brain. You're never going to improve your brain with a psychoactive substance, whether it's alcohol or marijuana or Prozac or Xanax. You're not going to make your brain work better. The brain's much too complicated for that. People need to come to grips with their lives, and we discourage that when we make believe there's a biochemical imbalance.
All right, Gary and Sebring, your turn.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I believe the gentleman's correct. My dad passed away. I was feeling depressed. My family doctor gave me Prozac. I started seeing things and becoming very, very violent at work. I was only on them 10 days. I flushed them and got off them.
And do you feel less that way now that you're off the medication?
Oh, I've been off 12 years and feel fine.
Very, very, very glad for you. I appreciate that comment. Tanya in Tampa, how about you?
We have the exact opposite approach to it. I've been on it for 6 years, and it saved my life. I mean, I feel better. It wasn't only depression that I had; it was OCD and some other things, a little bit of anger, and it just helps me feel balanced. And when I'm off it, I don't feel okay.
What do you say to her? Stay with us, if you will, Tanya.
Well, I have no desire to take her medication away from her. She's an adult. If she's informed, if she hears both sides of the story, it's up to her. But I would like her to know that it may be the reason she feels worse when she comes off the medication is that she's having a serious withdrawal reaction. If in the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 10 days after stopping an antidepressant, you start to feel weird or depressed or suicidal or violent, the odds are overwhelming. It's a withdrawal reaction.
Tanya, are you still on the line?
Yes, I'm here. I don't feel suicidal tendencies or anything like that. I just feel that my my self-control and my mood is not as enhanced. I just feel like when I'm not on it, I know what I can feel like when I am.
He wants to ask you something, Tanya. Can you just answer this? Hold on.
Sure.
Well, first, Tanya, I don't want to discourage you from taking the medication, but After you stop the medication, and when was the last time you stopped, how long does it take before you start to feel uneasy and in a way you don't want to feel?
It's not necessarily an uneasiness. It's just
whatever it is.
I don't feel myself. I certainly don't feel suicidal, but
how quickly,
well.
Tanya, how quickly after you stop the medication do you start to feel not like yourself?
About 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. That's a withdrawal reaction, Tanya. That you do need to know. That's a scientific fact. If within 2 or 3 days after stopping a medication, Prozac 3 days is your typical period because it's a little longer in effect. If you start to feel that way, that's a withdrawal reaction. So then you have a choice about going back on the medication or working with some kind of a trained professional to see if you can get through the withdrawal reaction. The problem that people run into, and this is not necessarily what Tanya will run into,
Thank you, Tanya. You can go now.
is that over the years they'll start to lose some of their feelings. They'll get more apathetic as the drug wears the neurotransmitters out, in effect. And then they try to come off, and they get terrible reactions when they try to withdraw.
So in the court of public opinion, when Tom Cruise took on Brooke Shields and said, you know, I disagree with you taking something for depression after childbirth, and she said, I felt like I was going to commit suicide or hurt my baby if I didn't take it. She sort of won that in the court of public opinion. I mean, where do you come on that debate?
Well, if you look at what was really going on, she was actually quite ill. She had had a difficult birth. She had some hormonal problems. She was fatigued. This was not just a matter of being a little depressed. Why would a woman become depressed after she gives birth? There are so many reasons. You're tired. Maybe you feel abandoned by your husband.
You don't think
you
it's
need to bring
surging
a family
hormones?
together?
You don't think there's any possibility?
No, yes, oh yes, surging hormones, and in fact, a huge drop in the hormones. But that doesn't mean you should further gum up your brain with another drug. What that means is you need good, healthy living, you need good nutrition, you need your husband to spend more time with you, you need to get your family wrapped around you.
We have to take a break, and he's not going to jump on the couch, right? This is Oprah. This is not Oprah. He's not going to jump on the couch like Tom Cruise. That's right.
In my elder years, I'm a calm gentleman.
We'll take a break. Children and antidepressants when we come back.